Hello and welcome to episode 9 of my Factorio 2.0 guide. So we need to get some more assemblers. So last episode we connected the coal to what is going to be our smelting stacks, and we got iron ore for the steel, which we have not crafted yet, and yeah, that's about it. So in this episode we are going to be crafting some green circuits off the bus. Finally time to use the bus. So we also filled in the copper smelting and got those connected. You can kind of see right in here. We do need some more radars. Let's just handcraft a couple and place them so that we can more easily like remote view some of the stuff. So we're gonna put some maybe down here, something somewhere in here. Anyways, so let's grab our car. We need to be able to see this. Hopefully the stronger explosives comes around sooner rather than later, because we will also be using that for clearing out some space. Ow. I can't leave that. I don't mind the car being a little messed up, but not the miners. Okay, so we need to continue some power through. Let's get out of here and take the car. That is, we'll just do that through here. So we will let this be kind of our lifeline from our power source in the upper left-hand corner to... How is our power doing, by the way? Oh, it's perfect. We have lots of room. So the next time that we add power, I believe will be after we create the mall. We'll take another look around that point. I did. It looked like I had it here. We're actually gonna let me move. We're gonna move this. Yes, move this to a new location. We're gonna put this here. We are gonna need a little bit of a path here, and this is kind of a smaller area, anyways. So I guess let's clear some trees. We're gonna have to still use the double grenades, but that's okay. So there's a couple of different ways that you can set up green circuits. Different people have done them in different ways over the years. We, however, are going to take full advantage of utilizing the red belts that we have started crafting. Like I said, a lot of people tend to use the just yellow belts because it's quote-unquote cheaper, but a lot of that cheapness is not just in material cost, but also time cost. And if you get to crafting the red belts early enough and have a large enough storage, like, you can kind of see that over time, like, it doesn't... We're not losing time by waiting for the red belts. Like, there's always something different that you can do while the red belts are crafting. So we did kind of get a little bit behind because the gear situation. I did not realize that the inserters were in the wrong direction, which I don't know how much time that we ended up losing because of that, but anyways. So let's clear out some of these rocks. We're going to need quite a bit of room here. This isn't the longest build we have, and it won't come down to this mining section, but you know, we can get rid of all these trees just to be on the safe side. And we're going to be getting rid of these anyways. Like, this whole area will be clear, so we're not exactly wasting time. Rocks, sure. We're going to need some more smelters anyways. 142 is not going to get us nearly what we need. There's another rock up here, yes. Okay, so as we start branching off the bus, we're going to follow kind of a general rule of thumb. We're going to try to create a boundary, and that's going to be in between whatever's going to get in the way of a straight belt there and whatever's going to get in the way of a straight belt here. There are a couple of exceptions. I think military science is just going to squeeze in. We're also going to have a section where we're going to put sulfur and our red and green science. They're going to like just squeeze in together. We're going to go a little bit behind the Roboport ghost that's in that location, which is not quite. It's going to end up being somewhere over here. Actually, we can just use our... We won't be able to see that until we uncover that area anyways. Once we get to purple science, that will also be one of those situations. So, like, what's the goal? Like, okay, let's just take a step back. What are we doing? What is the goal? So the goal is to just kind of automate all of the main things we need. Well, how do you know what the main thing is that we need? Well, we need the ability to automate a vast majority of some of the buildings and the logistics stuff. So we need iron plates, we need gears, we need copper for copper wire. So as you start looking through some of the things that we need to automate, and you don't necessarily know what we need at the moment, but don't worry, we have this covered. You'll start to see things like steel, we need iron, but we can make the sticks on site. Gears are a sticky situation. Sometimes people will put gears on the bus, but I personally prefer to make gears on site. So anytime we need gears, they will be made within that build. The same argument could be made for sulfuric acid, but I will not be making sulfuric acid on site. I have room on the bus for sulfuric acid, and I've kind of explained that already. Whoops. So yes, gears will be made on site, but you can kind of see, whoops. So we will need things like green circuits. We will need things like iron plate, which we have. We will need copper for copper cables, and cables will be made on site as well. You can also look ahead. So once we start getting into things, let's see. Efficiency modules will need red circuits. So we know that we need to work towards red circuits at some point. So that's kind of the goal, is to kind of look forward and see, like, what do we need? So when our goal is, first we need to make a shopping mall, and shopping mall will have all the items brought in that we need off the bus. And after we make the mall, our goal is blue science, chemical science. So we need sulfur, we need red circuits, and we need engines. Engines can largely be made, I think, almost entirely from iron products. So what is it? Let's go into Factoriopedia. Steel, pipe, which is made from iron bars, iron plates, and iron gears, which are made from iron plates. So largely a baseline of iron plates. The red circuits, however, need plastic. Plastic comes from coal and petroleum gas comes from oil. So before you even get started on blue circuits, you need to get into oil. So you can see the red circuits also need the green circuits, so we just need to have some green circuits. Sulfur also comes from oil. That is petroleum gas and water, and petroleum gas comes from oil. So that's kind of where we're headed. We are going to be making green circuits here. There's another general rule of thumb that I have whenever we're doing a bus base. It is a lot more convenient if you have all of your sciences on one side of the bus. So for us, we are not going to touch sciences again. Like, we are going to feed off of this green and red science at our starter base. We're going to feed off of this for quite a while. We will eventually have red and green science probably somewhere over in here. Military will be immediately after, and once we're done with military, we will start working our way towards, yay, we now can one-shot trees. Oh, that makes life so much better. Once we get through military science on the bus, we will then start working towards blue. But we're gonna have a lot more before we get to that point. Look at that. That is so great. Okay, so let's get into green circuits. So we do remember from when we did the starting area, and we're gonna need more assemblers and we're gonna need more blue inserters and different things. So what do we need? For electronic units, we've already been over this a couple times. We need copper cables, and we kind of know the general setup. So we know that it's gonna look something like this, right? We're going to have copper coming in to feed the copper cables. This is, you can see that because we've upgraded the machines, the numbers on the right hand side are a little bit different, but the ratios stay the same. So these three together are making 9 copper cables, and these two need 9 copper cables between the two of them. Half of which will come from this on this side, and half of which will come from this on this side. This whole thing goes into here, this whole thing goes into here, and then we will feed in iron from here. So there's a couple of different ways that you can set this up. I'm gonna cut this and paste it. So you could have it like this and have a belt coming through. I should do all of this in Ghost. It's a real struggle to remember to do the Ghost stuff. So, and that's just because it instantly deletes. So if you had iron coming in here, you could then take iron, let's say, here and here, and then you could have long inserters grabbing the copper cable from here and here. That's one way to do it. Another way is, and these were copper cable. Another way that people like to do is to try to, so if we just had this, and again, this is going to be like copper. Whoops. Gotta love those slight little misclicks there. And then you have to have somewhere to output it, right? So another option is some people will have iron come in through here, and you might be like, oh, well, we need an inserter space. So how do you like, you just use longhand inserters? No, they will use a splitter off like this, and which will pull iron out of here into this, and like this, and it will have to go underground at some point. So let's force in no, something like that, right? So the iron comes in here, and this allows this to come in this way. It's similar to what we did with what did we do that with here? We put a splitter so that this could push in one space to help the gears feed into... Oh, now we're behind on the... I see a little something that we can fix. A little bit of upgrades. So that's another option. We, however, are going to take full advantage of the red belts. And the thing that we're going to use is we're going to have copper coming in here. We are going to have copper cable. And then instead of having it, instead of having the green circuits look like this, we're going to take full advantage of our red belts, and we are going to pull these closer together. So we can still get 2 of these and 2 of these, but now we can have our red underground belts come here and use a splitter like this, and then we can output onto a belt here. And there you go. That is the build that we are going to be using. So we're going to copy this, and we're going to hit H to horizontally flip it. This is a great new thing that we can do. And you see we have a little bit of extra room. So we're actually going to put it here. We're going to have 2 outgoing belts of green circuits. Now, if you remember, when we do this, these inserters will put their products on the opposite side of the belt. So these inserters will be placing these on this side, and these inserters will be placing these on this side. So we're going to have a lane of just green belts on the right and a lane of just green belts on the left. So one way that we can kind of alleviate that is we're going to separate these just for visual sake, and we're going to put a splitter right here. That's it. This guy will put on the left hand side of the belt, and this will be split in half this direction and half this direction. And this guy is going to put it on the right hand side of this belt, and half is going to go in this side and half is going to go in this side. That is our green circuit build. Done. The only thing at this point, actually we might, whoops, ghosts. We might end up pulling it back here. And the reason for that is power poles. So it would be nice to have some of the power poles line up. So you can generally put one there, one there. You could put one here, but you can see that the inserter down here doesn't get one. And if we dropped this down, this one still powers this one. So that's an option actually. All right, we'll see how it all lines up. So this is generally how it's going to look, but I have to go get some more. We need some more belts. We need some more inserters. We need some more rank 2 assembling machines, and we will start to really peel out all the stuff that we need. 381, not bad. We need 300 is probably still not enough. Okay, what are we getting behind on? I did a priority. Alright, I had this priority filter, so let's just let that go 50-50 again, because this is obviously sucking out too much of the iron, and there's not really much we can do to beef this up at this point in time. Even if... oh, wait a minute, we are kind of getting... Alright, well let's... Nope. If we upgrade these, let's see how much this helps us out. Your belts are only as fast as your weakest link. Well, now that's still that's probably fine. This splitter seems to be serving almost no purpose. Even if we did that, I mean, we're not going to, but... Alright, now this is getting a little bit more saturated. Okay. We will just come back after we run out of materials. We will come back for... oh, I only needed like 8 of these. Okay, that's perfect. And 115, probably still not enough. I think I'm gonna need like 140. Oh, what did I say I was gonna upgrade? This. And now that we took the priority off, whatever. We'll just leave it be. And we'll come back. Okay, so to keep things nice and tidy on the bus, we need to kind of set some parameters that we're going to work around. One is the boundaries that we've set. That's one. So these guys here. Two, we are also going to measure out everything that we do from the bus. So I'm gonna use an assembler, and I'm just gonna go 1, 2, 3. Oh, we nailed it. How about that? We're always going to place everything 3 assemblers out from the bus, and that will be the 4th slot will be our first building made. There's going to be a little tiny exception to that rule, and that's going to be for the research labs. Once we get to that point, they will be slightly lower. I think it's like 1 tile lower than that, and that's okay, because once you see oh, just wait, once you see our research labs coming off the bus, you're going to be like, oh my goodness, what in the world, how did you manage to squeeze all that? Well, we're going to go over all that, right? So we are going to bring in this is 4.5 copper per setup. We are going to be pretending, I guess, to consume hold on, just to make all of this a little bit easier, let's just set up how we think it's going to be, something like that. That way when we copy this, we can just stamp it down, and that's the best part of these types of blueprints. You just stamp it and line it up with the next one and stamp it and stamp it. So how many is this? So this, I'm gonna Control C to calculate how many this is. This is 15 times 1.5, so we need to go farther. And this is 21 times 1.5 is slightly more than 30 per second, and 30 per second is what a red belt carries. We do not have the capacity to fill a full red belt, much less one on this side and one on this side, but we're prepping for the future. So this is how many we need total. So that's probably 70. So that's 70 assemblers, and we are also going to be moving this side. So let's copy all of this, and we're going to paste it here, lining up with our buildings there and fitting that right in there. So that is our 4 lanes of green circuits here, or 2 lanes here and 2 lanes here, 4 total. Now these are creating 1.5 per second, so each side 14 times 1.5 is 21. So this will not fill a full red belt, but it's also too much for just one red belt, because these move 30 per second, and this is going to be, what did I say that was? 20, 21, so 42. If we condensed it down into one, that would mean that these are kind of useless back here. So this is how we're going to leave it. If at some point we need to speed things up, we could always add more at the end. So where's the lineup? Right there. If we wanted to add more sections on, we could, or we could use something called modules later, and we'll go into more detail about modules, but I can just show you quickly. There are module slots here, and you can put in speed modules, which increase the power consumption of the object, of the building, and increase its speed. So like rank 1 here on the left will increase it by, I think it's 20% speed increase. Efficiency makes the fuel, the energy cost cheaper, which kind of reduces your pollution too as a byproduct, because you're using less energy, so you are producing less pollution. The red one is productivity. So what productivity is it will give you effectively, like, basically more bang for your buck. So if you were crafting, let's say 10 per second, with a single productivity module, it's like, I don't know, 4% to start with. So for every, let's say for every 25, you make 1 extra for the same amount of materials. That doesn't seem like much, but the modules do go up. So more productivity, and then you can have 2 modules. You can use something called beacons, which we will see later on, which broadcast the module, what the module does, but you can't use productivity for that. Productivity will only go into, okay, let's ignore all that. We'll get to that in a bit. So I would like to also kind of take blueprints of a lot of this. So we are going to see what kind of space we need. So this is the maximum that we can jump, which means that this is the maximum that we can go in. And let's just do the same thing here. Again, we are, nope, that was the wrong direction. These are going out here, and this is coming in. And then we need iron ore in as well. Let's just separate them. It doesn't matter which one of these we use, but we will err on the side of going wider when possible. And in a case like this, we will not be able to squeeze in a splitter here. Oh, that is okay. Nope, that's copper. Sorry. We will be able to put a splitter here. Okay, let's also talk real quick. 25 minutes. Maybe I'll hold off until the next episode. Well, we start. No, okay. I'm not gonna do that because we start the shopping mall in the next episode. So we're gonna get all this down real quick, and I will discuss this a little bit. So there's a couple of ways of taking things off the bus. Some people will do like this and say, okay, I'm gonna take things off of this belt. Now up here, I'm gonna take things out of the third belt and do like that. I prefer not to do this. The method that I tend to use is I like to kind of crunch everything to one side. And there's two ways to go about doing that. You can have splitters so that when this comes off, all of the material behind it gets kind of squished down into that. So even if every single one of these belts had a sixth of the product that's capable of moving, all of it would be funneled down into a single belt. I find that this way is, I'm not a fan. I tried doing this last week for the first time. This is not my preferred way of doing it. I actually do start the bus like this, so whenever I apply this to say here with the copper, this will be the initial setup. But the setup that I prefer is if we are going to be taking, let's say iron, and it's going to be here, I prefer to actually split like this. I should have also stated that we would set the priority to right, so it funnels everything towards the right, and the same is going to be here. This would funnel a lot of this to the right, but it would allow materials to come in through these and bypass whatever section you are removing from the belt, and it would also still condense down the materials. So the way that would work is it'll try to get it out of here, and if two items arrived at the exact same time from the exact same lane, one would go down here and one would pass forward. So priority is not the same thing as filter. Priority is just I prefer it to go out here. Filter would be like you can only go out here. So anyways, like I said, I start with this, and then afterwards everything is going to be on the forward end. So I start with this V shape, and then everything else will look like this moving down the line. A lot of people don't like to do that. It is very costly whenever it comes to the splitters. But again, I've dabbled with this many times. I've tried to balance the belt and take things off the middle. It can get pretty messy. I'm not going to deal with it. We're always going to take things off the bottom, and that includes the stuff that we need on top. So if we're taking something off of the iron, it will be removed from the bottom just like this and belted underground to the top. And that's how we're going to play this out. So let's start actually placing stuff, and we will get some copper in here. So this is going to be a little bit longer of an episode. We're at 20, what are we at? We're 29 minutes into this. So it's already quite a bit longer, or sorry, will be quite a bit longer, because we are filling all of this in and we are connecting everything to make sure it's working before we end the episode. Whoops. So I just need to quickly just try to squeeze all this in. The power is probably one of the next things you want to do. Now I put the splitters in the middle, you see, just because if we were to now take this, we can just run this down the line. If we had done this without taking out the ghosts first for the splitters, this belt would actually just replace the splitter, so unfortunately we kind of have to do that first. Let's do power. Power is easy because it just
everywhere there's a blueprint power pole, it just boom, plugs it right there. I did have a weird situation once, and I think it was here. I think it was with the green circuits, where here it was trying to place multiples, but that's not the case now, so it looks like that's fine. Is this actually going to work? Is everything covered? It looks like it is. Everything is just covered, so that's good. I think I end up using more power poles than this normally, so that's kind of the first time that I've done it exactly like this. And again, that's one of the best things about Factorios. You can do things different every single time if you want, or you slowly start to see things like that start fitting in. Let's go with more splitters. Let's do these, and then we can start to plug in other things. We will do the underground next. No! Ah. You accidentally have a deconstruction planner, you can hold shift and left click and it'll reconstruct anything that you have accidentally deconstructed. Just for future reference in case you do something like that. And funny enough, I did not learn that until I had been playing this game for like 2,000 hours. I don't know how I ever managed to get away without knowing that, but there you go. You learn something new every day, right? So there's that, and now we can just take the assembler and just run it down. So it will just drop exactly where it needs to. Do that for both sides. And all we have left is the inserters and connecting it all. So most of the inserters are facing the same direction. You can just do these real quick. We might just do the ones that are in this direction and come back for the ones that are feeding the iron. And then, like I said, we need to also do all the connections. I did some test runs for recording videos at the end of last week, and in those test runs, I just kept forgetting to attach the stuff until the next video. I want to try to make sure that everything's attached before we end the video. That way, if there are any mistakes, you can know within the context of what we've crafted. And I apologize, that's possibly going to make some episodes run longer, but it is what it is, right? Make sure these are all in the correct direction. And last two there. Okay, I believe that's everything. So let's get these connected. So we need... I'm only going to do 4 to start. We are... Whoops. Priority right. So we're just going to do this to start with. 4, because 6 won't come until like much later in the game. So we have... Yay, we have copper cables. Make sure this is working. And there we go. We have green circuits. You can see that this is the only side that's active, and it is putting them on both sides, or on one side of both sides of the belt. So that's feeding the one side. And now we just need to continue on. We'll just go ahead and flop all those down. We're only going to fill in the belts that we need right now. So there are kind of specific points where we will add on to the bus. Add in, let's say, smelting stacks. And every time we add in a smelting stack, we will then add its belts through. So we're going to try to conserve the belts that we have for now. Let's just make sure that this is going to work. It should, because this was just a horizontal flip of this one. Okay, and then we're going to set this one up too. So you can kind of see, like, we do not have the smelting production, the smelting capacity to actually fill out both of these. This is just kind of partially future-proofing, and we also don't have enough assemblers. We need to go back for some more. This is just kind of future-proofing. And we have 3 left. Let's go grab some more. I always do that. I always hit T instead of G. Man, that's funny, but like when you're typing, you don't really think about that. Like you don't accidentally hit T instead of G, but when you're specifically just trying to hit G, you know, whatever. Always need more belts. 800, look at that. And 50 of these, awesome. We're not gonna worry about anything else. Oh, no. We need probably some more splitters and undergrounds. Sure. Power poles are fine. I don't want to make another trip back here. We have some stone. Let's get stone furnaces crafting. 46 more will definitely be, because we're gonna have to fill all this in at some point. Once we start the mall, or once we get to a certain point in the mall, though, you know what? I probably shouldn't make these. No. Lane fill. Because we might not need any more, and the reason why is, once we get the mall going, we will have our steel furnaces, and once we get steel furnaces, we will be upgrading all the stone furnaces, and then the only thing that we need stone furnaces for is for making boilers. So they are going to become very obsolete very quick. And same with the boilers, actually. Like, we're not gonna have we're gonna make like 1 round of boilers, I think, and then after that we start getting other forms of power, which we will get into in another later video. It's always better to run down the belt because you do benefit from those speed increases. Let's do this. And I'm not holding this, I'm clicking each one of these individually, so you don't want to accidentally have something go where it doesn't belong. And again, we know that after we do that, we can just run this down because everything is going to block it except for the slot that it's supposed to go in. Get these assemblers, and then what do we need? We need power, and we need the boot circuits. So power. We can see that a lot of the stuff that we are connecting to is losing the flashing symbol for needing power. We do a lot less constructing once we get bots. Some people like to speed... Oh no, that is not what I wanted. Some people like to speed towards bots. That's, you know what? Whenever I start making bots, yeah, sure, they trickle out a little bit, but it's a pretty large trickle. Like, we will be going from like 2 bots to like 2,000 bots probably within the same episode. Just kidding. We start out with like 500. Anyways, that's a future situation. Okay, that's all from this side, besides the ones that are for the iron. I'm gonna show you another. I'm gonna show you a little trick too. Like, obviously, it's kind of hard to tell the difference between the blue inserters and the blue ghosts. So once we finish placing these, I'm gonna show you a little. Whoops! I'm gonna show you a little trick. that will help us not lose track is... Wait a minute, did I just... Okay, we're good. Alright. Don't mind me. And if you're unfamiliar with this process and if you're unfamiliar with this process and you weren't really sure, you can always use a combinator to kind of indicate what it is that you have coming in. So let's copper, and we're gonna copy, I'm just gonna Control C and copy and place these down like this too. And this one is iron. Control C and plug those there. So you can always, like, if you wanted to make a blueprint of this, and I will probably go through and make blueprints of all of these, and I don't know, maybe post them somewhere. Anyways, let's get these hooked up. We need to get this episode over with. We're 41 minutes in. This is copper, so same situation. We're just gonna copy that and paste. Continue this down the line. And just remember, if I'm ever going too fast and you're just like, you really got to slow down, like, you can always go back and watch the video. Or if you need to ask a question, feel free to ask a question. I will try to answer as many comment questions as I can. Okay, so that should do it. Is that it? Those are producing. And the right hand side, once it you know, actually gets the materials there. Alright, I'm pretty sure that's gonna work out. So if you look at your map view, you can see that the purple is your ghosts. So there's ghosts up here for the combinators. So this is one way. I'm gonna click off the recipe icons over here. So that's one way that you could, like, kind of search to see if you got all of them, was just open up your map view, go in, like, one tick or one mouse wheel out from where you are, from where you can see the actual buildings, and look for the pink spots, and that'll give you a little indicator on what you have left for ghosts. Okay, so these are all crafting. Awesome. Last thing is we need to get this out to the bus. So the one that's the farthest to the right is the first one that we're gonna drag in, and we're gonna have to remove a lot of this, which is perfectly fine. And yeah, then we will just continue these on from here. Where is this one gonna line up? And there you have it. Whoops. 2 lines of green circuits. Okay, so that is going to be it for this episode. In the next episode, we start getting into the mall. Yes. So the mall is going to start here, and I have a little bit of a system. We're going to have to clear all this out anyways. So I spent many hours, like, you have no idea, kind of designing a very specific system. So I'm going to say that again in the next episode. Many hours designing a system. And I have not quite a blueprint, but let's just call it a roadmap. I have a little roadmap on how we will go about setting it up. So we will do that in the next episode, and we will end up clearing out more of these trees. Oh, it's so nice being able to look at how fast we can clear these trees. Like, this is so awesome. I could do this all day. Okay, not really. I'm not gonna blow up trees all day. Anyways, that is it for this video. I will see you in the next episode, episode 10, and thanks for watching.